What's up in Minnesota, June 8th through September 13th. So there's no updates because we updated all the old stuff. So we've got all new stuff. We got 16 new cases. None of them are ERT because I can't show you ERT stuff. But none of them are ERT. So you're going to see something on all 16 cases today. So let's go with. So here's an overview of our cases. Again, we've got 16 submitted. The submission date range is June 8th of this year through yesterday. The dating range of sightings is July 28th of 74 through July 30th, 24, and that's not right. July 31st is not correct. I didn't update that date. So because actually the date range of sighting, there was one sighting that happened yesterday and it was reported already. So the actual date range is September 13th, 2024. So I got that date wrong. But and that date range of July 28th, 1974, I looked at the case. The witness in her detail, if I recall correctly, she says the sighting actually happened in 66. So I don't know why she put in that date. So the date is off. I think that might be a case Jared looked at, and I'm not sure, but there might be. I'm not sure why she got the date so far off. But we have one case of interest. Shapes we're going to see. We're going to see 2 discs, 4 spheres, 1 oval, 1 bullet missile, 1 unknown, 1 triangle, 1 square rectangle, 1 cigar, 1 circle, 1 they just didn't have a shape listed, 1 was listed as star-like, and 1 was listed as other. So our valet classifications, we're going to see 2 AN1s. So remember, the valet classifications is how we classify and qualify different sightings in MUFON. And an AN1, AN stands for anomaly. So this is an anomaly of the first kind. MUFON defines that as anomalies that do not have long-lasting physical effects, such as amorphous lights or unexplained explosions. We're going to hear about 2 of those today. 4 CE1. So CE is close encounter, like close encounter of the third kind. This is close encounter of the first kind. We're going to see 4 of those. MUFON defines a close encounter of the first kind as class of objects seen on the ground or a short distance to the observer. So we're going to see 4 of those. We're going to see 3 FB1. So FB is a flyby. It's a flyby of the first kind. There's going to be 3 of them. MUFON defines an FB1 as a simple sighting of a UFO flying by in the sky, the category most frequently reported. So we're going to see 1 FB3. So that's a flyby of the third kind. And MUFON defines an FB3 as it's a flyby of an object accompanied by the observation of beings on board. So yeah, I don't know if it's in the detail, but yeah, that's how we define a flyby of the third kind. Flying by, observation of beings on board. It's got 1 of those. We're going to have 6 MA1. So MA is a maneuver of the first kind. We've got 6 cases of a maneuver of the first kind. MUFON defines MA1 as gathers those UFO observations that involve an object with a discontinuous trajectory, such as a drop, a maneuver, or a loop. So it's doing some type of maneuver, basic maneuver. So that's what we're going to be looking at today. And since we've got so many of them, let's just jump right in and get going. So case number 137181-U. This took place on June 8th of 2024, 2:35 p.m. A circle was seen, MA1, so a maneuver of the first kind. This took place in St. Michael, Minnesota, if you know where St. Michael is. The short description was enjoying a nice day with no wind and noticed an object in the sky. So here's just a segment of their detailed description. Their detailed description part of it was noticed a very strange object in the sky with no apparent wings. I'm a private pilot, and what got my attention is there were no wings or sound, and it was moving quite fast. Now, she submitted, I think, a bunch of pictures, and I always try to show you everything I can, but one of her pictures was like of her flight credentials and stuff, so it's got her identifying information. I'm not going to show that, but I think she also included a couple of pictures. But Linda's already completed this one. Status is complete, but let's take a look at those pictures. I think there's 2 pictures on this one. You can barely see it. It's this white dot right up here, and I don't know if you're seeing my mouse. And Jen, I'm seeing you. Can you wave if you're seeing my mouse? You are seeing the mouse. Okay, so this white dot right up here, I think, is what she's talking about. So and let's see. So, and then of course she did a crop and she did a silver tone on it. So you can kind of see there's like the shadow of it. So, you know, it looks like sunlight's coming from here. So it looks like it's not something embedded or implanted. It looks like it is an actual object out in real time and space. So, and did she have a third? No. So this is completed as an unknown UAV. UAV is unidentified aerial vehicle. So Linda said this investigator, oh, no, actually, I think this investigator did not find any related sightings for this time period. The witness is a private pilot and is familiar with aircraft types and functionality. Witness didn't find any similar characteristics to known craft. Photos submitted are fuzzy and not relevant, as can't be used to determine what the object is. Due to the witness credibility and not being able to identify object to known aircraft or astronomical events, the investigator determines this to be an unknown UAV. So thank you very much, Linda, for your work on that. We certainly appreciate all you do for Minnesota MUFON, not just your investigations, but also as chief investigator. We thank you so much for that. Moving on to case number 137229-U. This took place on June 10th, 2024 at 10:52 p.m. A sphere was seen, a MA1, so maneuver of the first kind in Carver County. 4 very bright lights, round, much brighter than anything in a clear sky. Their detailed description was lights were observed in a vertical line above the other, hovered for about 4 minutes, then one by one moved off at a moderate pace, not super fast, to the northwest, until no longer visible. So actually, Linda and Bill both worked on this one. It is now completed. I think there's photos with this one. So let's take a look, see what we got here. So yeah, so I think what they're talking about is these two here and this one over here, because this one way up here, I'm not positive, but as I look at it, it strikes me as a lens flare, which could be from one of these two, but I'm not sure. She says 4 objects, but in some of the other pictures, you'll see that there's 4, and I'm not sure what this is up here either, but I said, my gut's just telling me for some reason this is a lens flare, but these are what she's looking at. And actually, these two are kind of interest because they seem to be kind of in tandem, as you'll see in the next couple pictures. So see, again, those two, they're just kind of right there. They, they don't look lens flares to me, so I don't think it's a camera lens thing. But then, Dave and Marianne are both here, and they're very, very experienced. So maybe they'll jump in and say, hey, we know what those are. But because we're always welcome to more input on that. So I think I have one more photo of this. So yeah, so here's the whole thing where it's kind of stacked. So see, those two are kind of together in a sense. I mean, their distance is closed, but they're still kind of, and those other two on top are kind of moving, in a together type way too, in a sense. So, and then this one's been completed. Let's see what they found out on that. So. Completed unknown others. So based on all details in this case, disposition is unknown others. So Bill McNeff closed this one out. So we want to thank you, Bill, for your work on that. So yeah, just don't know exactly what that was, but moving on to case number 137258-U. This took place on June 12th, 2024 at 9:15 p.m. A cigar-shaped object was seen, CE1, so we're talking a close encounter of the first kind, was seen in Elk River. Their short description was tic-tac gray-shaped object. This is their whole detailed description. This is everything said. On the evening of June 21st, I was outside trying to capture a picture of a lightning bolt. I did not see the object in the pictures until the next day, and I never witnessed it with my bare eyes. But there's no denying what it is. My observation is exactly what yours is going to be upon looking at the picture. And so as I read that as a field investigator and having some experience, when someone says it's in the picture, but I didn't see it with my bare eyes, I immediately go, it's a camera refraction, a lens flare, probably something like that. But with this picture, I don't think that's the case. I think there really is something there. But you've heard of people taking pictures of the night sky for storms and things, and suddenly there's something there that they didn't see. I think that's what this is. And this is a really interesting picture. So I've got the picture. I'm going to show it to you right now. And as it's standing, I mean, that's obviously not a lens flare. It's just very curious what that is. So he's taking pictures of lightning, and yeah, it's when I saw, because usually when I go, they didn't see it with their bare eyes. I kind of go, it's probably not an extraterrestrial vehicle, but this one I can't say that about. I think there's really something there. So it's a very interesting shot. So let's move on. Let's see what. So it's completed. Let's see what we came up with on this one. Completed unknown UAV, unidentified aerial vehicle. So the witness's photo of the Tic Tac object is very clear. Also in the photo, you can see the lightning, which supports her statement and why she was taking photos. Witness did not see the object while taking the pictures. There's a gray cylindrical object in the photo, which may have been captured while passing through the sky while taking photos. This photo should be analyzed further to determine if it has been altered since witness's husband was the one who discovered the object. So the disposition is unknown, unidentified aerial vehicle. So thank you, Peter Collins, for your work on that. Very interesting case. Great photograph. And I'd love to see what an analyst has to say about that. So case number 137522-U took place on June 29th of this year at 10:05 p.m. An oval-shaped object was seen. MA1, so maneuver of the first kind, was seen in Lakeville. Consistently recording UFOs. This one was one of 6 recorded from the 27th through the 29th. His detailed description is, I have witnessed over a dozen high-altitude UFOs with erratic flight patterns appearing and disappearing over the last 4 months. I have a second witness with me that will identify after being contacted with her permission. So this one's in progress. There's about 7 videos here. And so I'm going to show you, they're all very similar. They vary in length. To show you all of them will probably take about 10 minutes. And I don't think we have time for that. So I'm going to show you parts of at least 1, maybe 2. And the interesting thing is, too, he mentions that, it's moving. It's not my hand. And his witness goes, no, your hand is moving. And it's interesting because when you're zoomed out, holding your hands still is not too bad, but when you're really zooming in, zooming far away, the slightest movement of your hand can have a lot of look of movement here. But some of them may be stars, but there are some that are definitely moving independently. So here's that trick that I was going to try to do. I'm not sure if I can do to share these with you. So I'm going to see if I can share some of these with you, because let me go to the next screen. And so, yeah, wait, yeah. So I'm going to, and I'm not sure if I'll be sharing the right ones, but let me see. I'm going to stop share for a second, and I'm going to go share here. And I'm betting I think it's on this tab. Yeah, it looks like it's on this tab. So I'm just going to show you a couple of these. And Jan, wait if you're seeing this. You're seeing that? Okay, cool. Wait, it should be okay. There. Okay, so this I'll start with that's 1 minute and 15. Here's a 28-second one. We'll take a look at this one. And there, I should say too, some of them have some F-bombs in them. So if you're sensitive to F-bombs, be prepared for F-bombs. But they're not a lot, and they're not bad. So there you can see a couple of them, and it's right there. Yeah, I don't know if we like the 4th of July, because a lot of these have lots of bangs going off. Where's one? There's a one where you can kind of see things. Let me try this one. It's 19 seconds. Here's another. Let's check it, because some of you can see them moving in relation to each other. So that one you can see those two are definitely moving further apart. So even if one's a star, the other one's not, because it is moving separate from it. So whether it's a satellite or sorry, I had to pick the F-bomb ones. I'm sorry. And I'll try one more. That's a longer one. Let's see what we get here. Oh, oh, oh. Yeah, we'll try this one, and that'll be the last one we do for these guys. So I don't know if it's like 4th of July when this happened, because they're just yeah. So I think when those three, I think you can see, are they moving in relation to each other? Yeah, and there's that bottom one that's very faint. So yeah, so you can see some of them moving in relation. So I'm going to stop share. I'm going to go back to, so that's what we had on that one. So but it's currently in progress. We'll revisit this one, and we'll give you an update on this one once Bill has completed his investigation and has completed that one. So let's go on to case number 137570-U. This took place on June 28th of this year at 11:45 a.m. A square rectangle was seen, FB1, so flyby of the first kind, in Minnesota. Square object moving south slowly to the wind, and their detailed descriptions, all they put in there was same. So Linda is investigating this one. It's in progress. There's a video for this one too. So I'm going to show you the video for this one. I don't remember if it's a longer one or not, but I think I know which one it is. So I think these are lining up how I expected them to. So I think it's this one here. And we'll share that and maximize that, baby. Yeah, let's take a look at this. It's only 10 seconds. Yeah, so that's for case number 137887. I'm not sure if that's the one we were just looking at, but we'll find out in just a second. Oh, come on, get out of the way. Oh, that was for a different one. So, but I think if you've been with us for a while, you probably recognize it. It should look very familiar to you. But yeah, so that's not the one for this case. We'll keep hitting those videos and make sure we get to the right one in a second. So so case number 137675-U. This took place on July 7th of 2024 at 10:30 p.m. A triangle was seen. Classification FB1, so flyby of the first kind, took place in Hinckley. So the short description was: witnessed a very large silent object flash 3 lights and cross the sky with immense speed. Detailed description, very long and detailed description. It was a really long description of unusually large craft moving silently at an incredible speed along the St. Croix River. This is the one I think that's got the really cool drawings in it. So Jared's worked on this one. It's complete. Let's take a look at what they've got, because I think there's the 2 drawings on this one. So yeah, so obviously the person took some time on drawing this out. He's got his little campground there. He's got some of the woods. He's got the sky. He's got the north, south, east, west. He's got the some of the constellations in there, and the object flying, where it came from, where it went to. So obviously spent a lot of time. Really cool drawings. I was really impressed by that. I was like, wow, the guy took some time to really show exactly what he saw. So he was on the St. Croix River. And the river is the border of Minnesota, Wisconsin. So he's right on the Minnesota-Wisconsin border. So there's his campsite, and there's where the object went. And his next picture is more of the object as it flew overhead. So that's what it shows there. It was, because at first he thought it was an airplane, but he said it was much bigger than an airplane. I think I don't know, he had a pilot's background, but and these lights were all white. They weren't the red and green like you'd expect with an traditional commercial aircraft. So they were all white. I don't think they were on all the time too. I think they came on a little bit later. So, but he was like just a perfect equilateral like that. So a really cool drawing. So I appreciate him doing that. So let's see what Jared concluded on this one. So he says unknown UAV. So this is just a segment. Jared had a lot of good information in there. So after speaking with the witness, he seemed credible and calm. He's seeking nothing from this event other than to just report it and add it to the list for others. I believe the witness did indeed see an unknown object. However, I did submit a Freedom of Information Act request to the FAA for radar information for that night. Until that comes back, I'm closing the case as an unknown UAV. So, and that's the thing too. I've talked about this before. He closed the case. Even though cases are completed and closed, they're never truly completed with MUFON. We can always, if we have more information or more data that comes up, we can always go back in, we can add to the stuff, we can change the disposition. So even though cases are closed and completed, we're still open to, because the end goal is really getting the right answer, getting the right information, and really determining what it is. And if this information comes along later, that's fine too. So Jared, thank you very much for your work on that. This looks a really interesting case. I bet you enjoyed working on that one. So. Case number 137832-U took place on July 20th of 2024 at 4:52 p.m. A disc was seen, FB1, so flyby of the first kind. The location was in Lincoln County, and they gave it's Highway 14th and County Road 1. A few UFOs spotted near a water tower. So that's their detailed description. Did I forget to put it in there, or they just didn't have one? But so I'm investigating this one. This one's in progress. Interesting photographs on this one. So I may have just forgot to put in the description, but the interesting photographs. So you can see clearly two of them right here. The third one is way back here. And she actually zooms in for the next picture so you can get a better look at these. So, because it is very curious. They're kind of lined up, but not quite. And this one is obviously way off on the side. So let's take a look. It almost looks like from the grass, it looks like she may be in a moving vehicle. I don't recall if she's in a moving vehicle or not. So let's take a look at the next one. So yeah, so and again, that one, for some reason, this one down here, it's like it adds a layer of credibility to me. So it's like if you were to like try to fake stuff, these two would be relatively easy to do, and you just kind of like leave it at that. It doesn't make sense to intentionally add this one down here. It just doesn't make sense. So to me, for some reason, this just strikes me as more genuine and authentic. But again, I think she's in a moving vehicle. So are these discs, are they blurred? So it's a little hard to tell what's going on there. But and I've been in touch with her. Haven't done the interview yet. She's got some congestion and things going on, so she's not feeling very well. So hadn't been able to do the interview on that one yet. But so I'm working on that. I will revisit this one and update you when this one has been completed. So, and this is also a little piece of map she put in saying, here, this is where that windmill is. So we get the map where the windmill actually was. So that was very cool. She submitted that. Case number 137882. This is one of Jared's. I'm going to buzz through this real quick. Date unknown, shape blank, anomaly 1, and missing data. It's listed as complete. The reason I'm just buzzing through it because it's a duplicate of the next one, and we're going to show you it in the next one. So not much reason to spend much time here. So insufficient data, duplicate of 187 or 137883 for more information. So 137883, look at that. -U took place on July 28th of 1974. Now I believe in her detailed description, she mentions this happening in 1966. I think it was 66. So I'm curious about the discrepancy in the date, but not that big a deal. 5:30 p.m. A disc-shaped object was seen. CE1, so close encounter of the first kind in Richfield. Her short description was, it followed me home. She had a really, really good detailed description. She's a great storyteller. I read through the whole thing. It was really interesting. But a segment of what she said is, I walked along and something above me caught my eye, stopping me in my tracks. Above me and slightly over the graveyard, I saw a saucer-shaped silver craft with orange running lights moving sequentially on the outside edge, left to right. I stood there and stared at it for a moment or two, then looked around to see if there was anyone outside in the vicinity to whom I could yell for corroboration or potential help if needed. No one anywhere. This took place in South Minneapolis, or in the Richfield area, and she's mentioning streets and intersections. You can actually go to these locations. And she's talking about how she was trying to not be afraid and walk home very calmly. But after she got so far and was kind of following her, she decided to bolt home. And she ran into her house, and her mom was in the kitchen cooking. And she's like, "Mom, you got to see this. Come on, come on, come out." So she brought her mom outside and brought her out. Her mom saw it too. And her mom had a very interesting comment, because she said to her mom, "What is that?" and her mom said, and I'm paraphrasing because I don't have it in front of me, but her mom said, "I don't know, and don't ever ask me about that again." Which is like, what does that mean? So very curious a response. And then she goes on to say, like a couple of days later, she's with some friends of hers at one of their houses, and they see something odd too. So yeah, very interesting read, very interesting interview. So Jared has completed that one. Let's see what Jared had to say about that. Unknown UAV. The witness was credible to me. The witness was concerned over anonymity and did not want to be recorded and was not looking for recognition of any kind. Witness just wanted to tell the story and get it out there for others to hear, as long as their name stayed out of it. That in itself lends a degree of credibility to the story. The witness story was interesting, plausible, although that area today is very busy at the time of the sighting, and it's highly possible that the witness could have been the only person in the area, as the witness stated when they looked around for help, confirmation for someone else in the area. It's like she mentioned, like Penn Avenue and like 48th Street and stuff. So see the witness interview for further information. I believe the witness did indeed see a hovering craft of unknown origin. Case disposition: unknown UAV. Jared Nelson. So thank you, Jared, for that very interesting case. That was really a great read. So moving on. Case number 137886-U took place on July 28th of 2024 at 7:30 p.m. The shape was unknown. Valet classification was an AN1, so that's anomaly of the first kind. So if you think anomaly, it could be just a bang or a boom, so they might not have seen a shape. So that could be why it was unknown. This took place in Plymouth. The short description was fixed object observed directly above me. And here's just a segment of the detailed description. I stared up to the clouds and notices on edge of the moving high altitude clouds a bright white speck. I focused on it to try and identify it. The clouds moved next to it, but it remained stationary. It reminded me of a very similar experience I had as a teenager, not far from there. Because of that, I continued to watch for any movement. However, it did not move, and the clouds moved in underneath it. I did not see it again afterwards. So Peter Collins is working on this. It's in progress. We will update you on this one once it's completed. I'm trying to think if there's a picture or anything with this one. No picture. Okay. So case number 13788-7 took place on July 27, 2024 at 4 a.m. A bullet missile was seen, classification MA1, so maneuver of the first kind, took place in Anoka County. A line-shaped object that was moving and flashing not shown in video. That's the first one I showed you where there's that little streak. That's this one. So multicolored pencil-shaped object, unclear at size or distance, but what wasn't shown in the video is it had a light that was moving around randomly while traveling in a straight path. I took a video from my phone, then my phone died. Me and my friend, who I'm not going to name, look at each other, then look back, and it's gone. So Steve Hero is investigating this one. Oh, it's complete. He's already investigated it. And I showed you the video, so I'm not going to show you that video again, but let's see what Steve had to say about this one. Complete unknown UAV. I was unable to contact the witness after several attempts, but I will revisit the case if I ever hear from the witness. From the photographic evidence alone, I would classify this as an unknown UAV, which he may be right, but boy, there was just something about that video that kind of said Starlink chain to me, or Starlink train. That's my take on it. But again, like Steve even says, if we get more evidence and more information, we can reopen it and we can add and we can change that if that's necessary. So case number 137920-U took place on June 20th of 2024 at 9:57 p.m. A spear was seen. Valet classification MA1, so maneuver of the first kind, took place in Garrison. Bright light orb suddenly appeared then left at a high rate of speed and then disappeared. Clouds were thin, not heavy enough to hide the object. Bright round shaped orb appeared on Mille Lacs Lake, where there was a fishing launch at the same time. On 2 Mile Reef, orb was approximately 3/4 of a mile up and approximately 3/4 to a mile away. On bright moonlit evening, easy to see, UFO caught on security camera mounted on east side of house looking out over the lake. So there's a lot. So I've interviewed this guy. So there's a lot to unpack here, so it was his Ring camera that caught the video. And generally there was a rule in MUFON, there has to be a witness. So if it's just on a camera, there's no witness. But he and his wife actually saw it at the same time. Excuse me. And hope the Ring camera caught it, and it did. So it's you're going to see a very bright object in there. You're going to think it's the sun, but he says that's the moon. So you're going to see the moon, and you're going to see the bright object go by pretty quickly. You can't miss it. It's very obvious. Lasts for a few seconds. This guy has a military background. He's got pilot training. He had a lot of really good credentials, so very credible, very reliable. And the thing about him too is, since this sighting, he's had another one that was really interesting. And then he also told me about another sighting he had back in 1968, which I thought was really compelling. So I encouraged him to submit both of those two to MUFON. So maybe we'll see them in a future What's Up in Minnesota. But for right now, we're working on this one. But he had two other interesting stories to tell me. I think this video is about 14 to 24 seconds long, but the object's only in like the first 5 or 10 seconds of it. So, but you can't miss it. I'd be interested to see what people think about it. I got to do a little more research. So let's see if I can find out what this is. So let me stop sharing. 137920. What it'll tell me here? Share. Share. So I thought, oh, it's going to tell me there. It's not that one. It's not that one. Oh, because they're moving them around. That's what. Wait a minute. It's got to be one of these. I thought I pulled this one up. It's a good video. I really want you to see this one too. It's none of these. I thought I had this pulled up. So this might not be the most efficient way to do this. So it's not this one. I really want you to see it because actually it's a pretty cool video. It's I keep pulling the same one. Would it be? Oh, it's this one here. Yeah, this is it. Yes, this is the one. Okay, cool. So I'm going to play this one for you. Where did it go? It was right there. It's not sharing how I want it to share. Now behave and cooperate. Oh, I know what I did. Okay, hang on. Let me do this. Do this. And I can see Jan. Jan, wave if you can see this. Okay, you can see. Okay, so it's only going to happen like the first 5 or 10 seconds of the video, but he says that's the moon there, and that bright object on the horizon. He said that was the fishing reef or the fishing launch thing that's out there. So that's we've identified what that is. We've identified the moon, but you will see the object that he's referring to here within the first 5 to 10 seconds. You can't miss it. Yeah, so that's pretty obvious. It's there and it's gone. So yeah, that's we can watch it again. Let me stop this and bring it back. So we'll watch it one more time. So yeah. So he and his wife were in their bedroom. They just happened to be looking out at the lake at the same time. And it just so happened the camera caught it too. So it was very cool if they both caught it. So yeah, we're going to see if we can figure out what that is. So yeah, so let's go back. So that I thought was a very interesting one. I got 3 chats. See if anything chat. Well, incredible picture. Okay, yeah, so okay, so yeah, we'll revisit that one once I determine. But really, really good, interesting interview, and hopefully he'll submit his other 2 cases. I'd like to have someone interview or investigate those as well. So. And this was 138002-U. This MUFON identified this as a case of interest. So, and Jared and Anna were both very interested in working on this one, so I let them both have it. This took place on July 31st, 2024 at 1:32 p.m. A sphere was seen in Valley classification CE1, so close encounter of the first kind. It took place in Sabin, which is in Clay County. Good video on this one too. I'm hoping I can find the video on this one easier. So my son and I were driving around looking at houses when I first saw the silver chrome ball. So he had a pretty detailed description. Here's a segment of his description. I seen something speed across the road traveling from west to east that caught the corner of my eye. I immediately told my son to look at this silver chrome ball that had stopped and then moved at 90 degrees to the right, which would be back to the west, and then proceeded southeast at this time. So they got in their car, started chasing it down. So you're going to see the video. At first, you don't see it at all. And then I think you kind of see it over the corn crop, over the cornfield. And then I'm not sure if that's it, because then the picture kind of resolves and there's a water tower there, and that could have been the water tower that you're seeing. But then a few seconds later, you definitely see the object. You definitely see it moving. It's very obvious. It's very clear. So very interesting video. So oh, and there's images too. So I'll show you the images first. So here's so this is what you're going to end up seeing this in motion. You'll end up seeing this in motion. And I think there's just 2 images. Yeah, so here's a close-up of it. So again, it's got that shadow underneath. It almost looks like there's like a little, I don't know, projection or exhaust or something underneath. Could be a camera thing. It's hard to say what that is, but I've got video on that too. So I want to show you the video on that. So case number 138002. So I'm going to stop sharing. Let's see, 138002. That's not it. That's not it. That's not it. Okay. This should be it. It's an interesting video. It's a few minutes long, but we'll watch the whole thing. Yeah, 2.5 minutes. We'll check this out. And no F-bombs, I don't think. So we're safe on this one. So we don't see it yet. And there's going to be a cornfield. And you see a little ball over the cornfield. I'm not sure if that's it or not, but that might resolve to a water tower. You'll see what I mean when we get there. But they're now chasing this where they thought they saw it go. Now you see that, I think that might be it, but that could be a water tower that you'll see in a second too. That might have been it. I don't know if you saw that or not. It was very, very brief. But now see, there's that water. So that's a water tower. As it resolves, you'll see that's actually a water tower when that slows down. So there's a water tower. But then they do actually catch the object again. So that first object, I'm not sure if that was water tower or not. There it is. Oh, and they put their front. There it is. Okay, you can zoom in on that. So. And then it fades, it drifts into the clouds. And once it's into the clouds, you don't see it again. So yeah, at this point, now it's gone. Well, you still kind of see it there. Yeah, at this point, well, you do still see it. You do. Oh, no, it actually looks like it's inclining there a little bit, climbing a little bit. Cool. If they can't see it anymore, I'm stopping the video. So, all right. So, it sounds like it's still running. I mean, I need to shut that off. But anyways, so Anna and Jared are investigating that one. And we'll let you know when they complete it. We'll let you know what they find out. So the next case, we're going to wrap it up. We're a little over past 3 o'clock. I want to take our break by now, but we're really close to the end. So it took place on August 30th, 2024, 5 p.m. Shape was an other, FB3, flyby of the third kind. Took place in Savage, flying in daylight. Looks like a flying squid. I do want to spend a little bit of time on this because we talked, I told you before at the symposium, they talked about squid-shaped craft and squid-shaped beings being on the rise. And so here we got a flying squid report. When MUFON sent this to us, they sent me a note saying, hey, we got a flying squid. Get as much detail as you can. We might want to highlight this at the symposium. We need to know what this is. I don't think it's going to be highlighted at the symposium. I don't think it's the flying squid. He says, I have no idea what it is. It's about the size of a passenger jet, maybe a meteor breaking up. I'm working on it right now. It's in progress. I was inclined to close it by now, but I'm not sure. I'm going to close it within the next couple of days. I sent a request to the witness for an interview. He responded back, said, oh, sorry, pretty sure it's a kite. And I said, okay, which is fine. I said, okay, so why do you think it's a kite? I said, did you drive out and see some, he said, I posted on Facebook and lots of people said it's a kite. So I'm going to show you the photograph. I'm going to show you zoomed in on the photograph, and then we'll show you some other stuff. And then, yeah, we'll just keep moving along. So here's his photograph. And so there's a building here at the bottom, another rooftop here. So we could actually find this location if we wanted to. It is an interesting object. Does look very squid-like. I cropped, and so this is what the witness submitted. Next, I'm going to show you what me cropping and zooming on this image. Me cropping and zooming on this image gets this. So definitely got the tentacles, got the kind of squid shape look. He said he thought it was a kite. So he said he didn't see any strings on it, though. He thought he would be able to see strings. He doesn't see strings. But I went on Amazon and I found this on Amazon. So I'm not sure that this very well could be what he's seeing, but I really would like. I asked him to send me the links to the Facebook post where they were saying it was a kite, because I like a little more data, because it's very likely that this is it, but I want to take a little more time with it. So it's probably going to be closed out. This will not be highlighted at the symposium. We're not going to highlight a kite at the symposium next year, I'm pretty sure. So I'm working on that. I'll probably close it out with it within the next few days as an IFO, an identified flying object, a man-made object. I'm guessing that's where we're going to go with this. So case number 138369-U took place on September 6th, 2024 at 10 p.m. A sphere was seen, CE1, a close encounter of the first kind in Winnebago. So orbs, glowing orbs, abrupt turns, and pop in and out of space in a blink. Here's a segment of their detailed description. There was a light floating above ground, but peeking back and forth, up and down. Then they would seem right there and then far across the field. I would walk toward one and it would keep the same distance. Like you couldn't gain on it. Then the ones in the sky were absorbing other lights and moving erratically. They were like bright stars. So I'm currently working on this one. There is a video on this one. So I'm going to show you the video real quick. I don't remember if it's a long video or not, but so I'm going to stop share 138869. Hope I can get better at finding these videos faster. That's not it. That's not it. Not it. This is it. Okay. Okay, 41 seconds. We're at more 5 after 3. I want to get our speakers, take a break, get our speakers up. So yeah, so these lights are interesting. Oh, there might be some F-bombs in this one too. So be aware if you're F-bomb sensitive. So seeing this one and the other one with the lights where they were saying it's happening many days in a row, that's always kind of an indicator to me too. If it's consecutive days, I usually start to think there's a man-made explanation to that, because but there are legit UFO sightings where they do happen consecutive days in a row and then stop for whatever reason. So that doesn't automatically rule it out, but it makes my antennas go up, if you will. So when I see that or hear that. So yeah, so that is that one. Stop sharing on that. And so I'm investigating that one and I have not done a interview on that one yet either. So once I do the interview, we'll get that one resolved. Hopefully we'll see the completion of that one soon. So, and this is our last case. We'll be taking a break here in just a second. So case number 138452-U took place on September 13th, 2024. So just yesterday, this is the one that came in yesterday at 9 p.m. They saw it and they jumped on it. Star-like was a shape, valet classification MA1. So maneuver of the first kind took place in Bemidji. Saw one moving erratically, then more. So here's a segment of what they said. While she stood outside with me, I think he was with his wife, 7 or 8 stars moved in a circular pattern above us. Most came from the east by northeast. One of the 2 came from the west. They weren't moving in a straight line like the ISS, Starlink, or a plane. At one point, 3 of them stopped momentarily in the sky and made a triangle pattern before moving on. So I've assigned this to Steve Hero, and I don't think we've got any pictures or do we have anything on this? Well, we'll see. But Steve, I just assigned it to him this morning, so I don't know if he's even had a chance to look at it, but yeah, so that's a brand new one we just got in. So, and that's what's up in Minnesota. So thank you all for your patience. And